A Hungarian soldier crosses the frozen Don River near Stalingrad in 1942, as Hungary's Second Army joined Germany's disastrous Operation Barbarossa. Hungarian forces suffered devastating losses during the Soviet counteroffensive that winter. Over 100,000 Hungarian troops perished in the brutal fighting, marking one of Hungary's greatest military catastrophes during World War II. A U.S. soldier shares a chocolate bar with a local Japanese woman in 1946 during the American occupation of Japan. This simple gesture of kindness represented evolving relations between former enemies as occupation forces transitioned from combat to rebuilding. American GIs often distributed candy, food, and supplies to impoverished Japanese civilians recovering from wartime devastation. Alexei Alexeyevich Moskalev, born 1895 and died 1965, earned full Cavalier of St. George honors as a corporal commanding the 14th Autocannon Platoon. This prestigious Russian military decoration recognized extraordinary battlefield valor. What actions earned him this complete set of St. George decorations? His service demonstrated exceptional courage during Russia's tumultuous early 20th century conflicts. A Japanese Type 92 heavy machine gun crew operates their weapon during combat operations in Burma, 1944. This reliable 7.7mm machine gun provided devastating firepower for Japanese defensive positions throughout the Pacific Theater. Japanese forces fought tenaciously in Burma's jungles against British and Allied troops during the grueling campaign to recapture Southeast Asian territories. A member of the MVSN from Pavia stands guard at the newly constructed Ponte dell'Impero Bridge. The marble block inscription displays 1936, 14th year of the Fascist era in Latin numerals, demonstrating Mussolini's regime propaganda linking Fascist Italy to ancient Roman imperial glory and architectural monumentalism throughout Italian infrastructure projects. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill shares a drink with Yugoslavian Communist President Josip Broz Tito at 10 Downing Street in 1953. This remarkable meeting brought together the staunch anti-communist British leader and the independent communist strongman who broke from Stalin's Soviet Union, demonstrating Cold War's complex diplomatic realities and strategic pragmatism. A glass negative captures a young woman training with a makeshift boxing bag in the early 1900s, while her brother watches curiously from the window. This unusual photograph challenges Victorian-era gender expectations, showing women engaging in physical fitness and combat sports decades before such activities became socially acceptable for women in mainstream society. Victims of the June 1943 Zoot Suit riots in Los Angeles, where groups of U.S. servicemen violently targeted, attacked, and stripped Mexican-American teenagers wearing distinctive zoot suits. This racially motivated violence exposed deep tensions between military personnel and minority communities. The riots lasted several days before military authorities intervened, highlighting wartime racial discrimination domestically. Photographer Augustus Frederick Sherman documented immigrants arriving through Ellis Island between 1906 and 1914, capturing diverse faces seeking American opportunity. His remarkable portraits preserved the cultural clothing, expressions, and hopes of millions entering the United States during peak immigration years. Sherman's work provides invaluable visual documentation of America's multicultural transformation during the early 20th century. Indigenous Moriori people photographed near Ono settlement in Chatham Islands, Rikohu, in 1873, wearing mixed European and traditional Moriori clothing. Several carry staffs adorned with distinctive albatross tufts in their beards, representing cultural tradition. This rare image documents the Moriori people following devastating genocide and enslavement by Maori invaders during the 1835 Moriori genocide. This photograph features a handwritten message in Turkish on the reverse, apparently penned by the pictured individual. The item was purchased from a Texas trinket shop with no accompanying provenance. Without translation of the Turkish text or additional identifying details, determining the historical context, location, time period, and person's identity remains challenging for researchers. Wreckage of a Japanese HED-3A Val dive bomber photographed at Pearl Harbor following the December 7, 1941 surprise attack. This aircraft type spearheaded Japan's carrier-based assault on the U.S. Pacific Fleet. Several VAL bombers were shot down during the raid, providing American forces with valuable intelligence on Japanese naval aviation technology and tactics. Passengers boarding the ill-fated British airship R101 at Cardington Pillar Mooring Mast in England, photographed for the 1936 periodical War in the Air, Aerial Wonders of Our Time. The R101 crashed catastrophically in France on October 5, 1930, killing 48 people and effectively ending Britain's ambitious rigid airship program forever. A Nakajima B-6N2 Navy carrier-based attack bomber Model 12, codenamed Tenzin by Japan and Jill by Allies, launches from No. 1 Shumshu Airfield at Kotoroka Naval Base on Shumshu Island, Kuril Islands during spring 1945. The 553rd Kokutai operated this torpedo bomber during Japan's desperate final defensive operations in the Northern Pacific Territories. Moonshiner sisters Florence Fryermuth, age 20, and Susie Fryermuth, age 15, defiantly posed with rifles in August 1924 after federal agents raided their illegal Prohibition-era distillery. These young women operated their own bootlegging operation during America's alcohol ban, demonstrating how Prohibition transformed ordinary citizens into criminals and created widespread defiance of federal law. Alessandro Pavellini, secretary of the Republican Fascist Party, attends Ettore Muti's funeral in Ravenna on February 25, 1944. Muti, former PNF secretary and founder of the notorious paramilitary legion bearing his name, was killed under mysterious circumstances. His death exposed internal conflicts within Mussolini's collapsing Italian Social Republic during Italy's brutal civil war period. Andrei René Roussimoff, later known worldwide as André the Giant, photographed in Paris at age 18 in 1966 as his extraordinary size began attracting public attention. Already standing over 7 feet tall due to gigantism, the young Frenchman was beginning his journey from countryside labor to international wrestling superstar and beloved Hollywood actor in The Princess Bride. A Scottish Highlander and Indian Dogra soldiers share a trench in France during August 1915, representing the British Empire's diverse military forces fighting in World War I. Indian regiments contributed significantly to the Western Front campaigns, with Dogra troops from the Himalayan region earning reputations for exceptional bravery and loyalty throughout the brutal European conflict. The four-masted schooner G.A. Cola lies beached at Salvo, North Carolina in 1934. 9 seamen were rescued by Chickamaucomico Coast Guard during the August 1933 storm that wrecked the vessel. The abandoned ship languished on shore until World War II, when it was burned for scrap iron desperately needed for wartime manufacturing production. The 27th Battalion, Manchester Regiment emerges exhausted from the trenches along Menin Road on December 27, 1917, exactly 108 years ago today. These soldiers survived brutal fighting near Ypres during one of World War I's deadliest sectors. How many would live to see another Christmas after this hellish winter in Flanders' muddy, frozen trenches? Before achieving Hollywood stardom, Harrison Ford worked as a professional carpenter in Los Angeles to support his family while pursuing acting. Ford built cabinets and did renovations for various clients, including celebrities. This hands-on trade provided financial stability during years of small roles and auditions, ultimately leading to his legendary breakthrough as Han Solo in Star Wars. Another photograph from the Muti barracks after April 25, 1945 shows a commissioner painting over a portrait of Mussolini, the Deuce. This symbolic act represented Italy's final rejection of fascism following liberation. Former fascist strongholds were systematically purged of regime imagery as Italy transitioned from dictatorship to democracy after Mussolini's execution and regime collapse. Easter morning finds T5 William E. Thomas and Private First Class Joseph Jackson preparing to roll specially decorated eggs on Adolf Hitler's lawn. This light-hearted moment of Allied soldiers celebrating Easter at Hitler's captured residence symbolized complete victory over Nazi Germany. American troops enjoyed this ironic tradition on the defeated Führer's former private property. A glass negative captures wintertime at Central Park, New York in 1900, preserving a snowy scene from over a century ago. This photographic technology allowed detailed documentation of daily life in turn-of-the-century Manhattan. New Yorkers enjoyed Central Park's winter landscape, with horse-drawn sleighs and Victorian-era clothing defining this elegant Gilded Age recreation. The Me-262 V-555, a modified Messerschmitt Me-262A2A jet fighter fitted with an unusual glass nose section to facilitate precision bombing duties. This experimental adaptation transformed Germany's revolutionary jet fighter into a bomber variant, allowing the bombardier better visibility for targeting. What advantages did this transparent nose offer compared to traditional bomber designs during Germany's desperate 1944-45 operations? The crew of Russian Baltic Fleet submarine AG-12 photographed in spring 1917 during revolutionary turmoil. Commander Senior Lieutenant K.L. Sobolev stands second from top right, who later joined the White Movement's Northwestern Army fighting Bolsheviks. This image captures Russia's naval forces during the chaotic transition between Tsarist collapse and Civil War's devastating beginning. In 1904, journalist Upton Sinclair worked undercover for 7 weeks inside Chicago's meatpacking plants, witnessing horrific unsafe worker conditions, widespread child labor exploitation, diseased animals processed for consumption, unsanitary handling practices, and immigrant abuse. These shocking experiences inspired his groundbreaking novel The Jungle, which sparked nationwide food safety reforms and progressive labor legislation. John Lennon and Ringo Starr arrive at On the Rocks nightclub in Los Angeles, 1976, attending Bob Marley's performance at the adjacent Roxy Theatre. Teenage photographer Brad Elterman captured this iconic moment featuring two Beatles legends supporting the reggae superstar. This encounter represented the cross-pollination of rock and reggae during music's transformative mid-70s era.